So I see some of the mayflies already swarming over the water here. I'm hoping a lot are still up in the trees and waiting for it gets real dark. I know the spinner fall happens like right at dark or even after when it's really dark out. So I'm gonna kill the last little bit of daylight. I got about an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes. Tied up some clousers. I'm gonna throw some clousers, see if I can get any smallmouth, walleye, whatever's in here. I've never fished this before, so we'll find out. But I'll probably fish my way out. There's a nice riffle here. And then they were rising right in here in this low stuff last night. So I'll probably fish out, come back, rest it a little bit, switch it up. You know, I gotta adjust tippets. I'm not gonna throw a 20 pound test to my dry fly. I'll put like 3X on, switch out tippets, put the dry on, float it up, and hopefully by then they'll have moved into the shallows here, and I can get them on dries. If for some reason spinner fall doesn't happen, I have a few mouse patterns in my pocket. Maybe we can get some night action on the mice if the spinners aren't working. But the fish will be looking up. I think I might have just heard a rise right there. But, you know, I'm going to quit talking, start fishing, and kill this last little bit of daylight. Tell you what, it's refreshing to throw that 6 weight after using that 10 weight all morning. There he is. There's the old smallmouth bass on the old fly rod. Not a huge one, that's for sure, but he's a fish, so we'll take it. There's not nearly shit. I can't see. There's not nearly as many bugs as as last night. That's for sure. I do see a little bit more activity picking up, so we're just gonna sit here and wait a little bit, but if it stays like this I might just stay with the mouse pattern. I'm not gonna switch anything up till I know for sure that I want to throw the spinner fall. But I think I was here about this time yesterday. I know there's some flies. I see them dancing around, but it was crazy last night, so definitely not as many as there was then. They're hitting me in the face, they're attracted to the light, but definitely not as many as there was last night. I'm just going to sit here and see if I see any risers or whatnot. If I start seeing something rise pretty steadily, I'll probably switch over, but it's just a waiting game at this point. I caught that little smallmouth, and it was a blast. He fought pretty hard. It's the first smallmouth I've ever caught with a fly rod, I think. At least in the river, that's for sure. So, like I said, we're just going to wait it out, hang out for a little bit, and enjoy the nice peaceful evening. It's starting to get a little chilly, so hopefully if something happens, it'll happen soon so I can warm on up. Alright, so we're back out after some smallmouth. You know, things didn't really work out last night with the hatch and whatnot. Should have threw some flies the night before when they were going crazy, but it's whatever. So I'm going to start right now where I picked up a little one last night, and then I'm going to walk upstream. It's like 3, 4 in the afternoon right now, so probably get a solid 3 or 4 hours worth of fishing in. And water temps seem a little colder than they have been. Water definitely dropped like an inch or two, so hopefully things will work out. not exactly an expert on smallmouth, so I'm just gonna kind of cast, hope, and pray. I got one yesterday, so I must be doing something right, but stick around and we'll see how we do. Here we go. Nice little smallmouth. Tell you what, pound per pound, definitely the hardest fighting fish out there. That fight was insane. I mean, he's only like 12 inches, and that took me a while. This is a 6-weight rod. Plows are right there in the corner. 6-weight rod, and that took me probably a couple minutes to get him in, maybe a minute and a half. But nice fish to start the day. There he goes. There he goes. I started here, I've been casting across. I switched to my type 3 line to get a little bit more depth. I noticed it was pretty deep, and my floater just wasn't cutting it. So I've been casting across down at like a 45-degree angle. I throw a couple mends in my line, and then I stick my rod tip down in the water and get my line to achieve a little extra depth. And then I just start slowly stripping it, and just keep my line tight. I let it swing out below me, and then I strip it back to me. And that one hit it about halfway through the swing, and I was hooked up, brought him in, and let's do it again. That was a blast. Alright, figured I'd give you 5 tips to catching more fish. The first one, number 1, cover more water. The second tip, cover more water. The third tip, cover more water. The third tip, that's 4, sorry, I don't know how to count. The fourth tip, cover more water. The fifth tip, cover more water. I just lost another I almost said trout. I'm so used to trout fishing. I don't do this warm water stuff that often, but especially this, this is a bigger river than I'm used to. And I just lost another fish out there. I'm assuming it's a smallmouth. There's also walleye and muskie here. Probably largemouth too. I'm not exactly 100% sure. But this is a really big water system for me. And I caught that other fish up there. And I really don't exactly know what I'm doing when I'm smallmouth fishing on a system like this. I caught my first bass on a fly last night. Not my first bass, but my first smallmouth on a bass. I caught that first smallmouth last night. It was probably up there. But I came back and caught one higher up. This one you saw, that was my second smallmouth on the fly. And I just hooked my third. But what you haven't seen me do is work all the way through. I've been taking 3 casts at each spot, swinging my fly, varying my strip rate. I adjust my depth. I only have a type 3 line, which drops about 2 inches per second, 1.5 inches per second, something like that. So I've been adjusting depth by how far down I stick my rod tip in the water. And that last one, kind of hit the same way the first one did. It hit, just after I started my swing, and a little bit faster strips. And my rod tip was about 3-4 inches below the water tip. Water level. So, I might be onto something. I might just be getting lucky, but we'll see. But it's easier to get lucky when you're covering more water. The more water you cover and the more efficiently you cover it, the more fish you put it in front of. It's just simple probability theory and whatnot. But seriously, cover more water. Also, more serious pro tip, what you do, how you fish really doesn't matter. It all matters what you drink. Some guys like Dunkin. I'm not naming any names, Dan from Hardway Outdoors, and that's great. Dunkin doesn't work for everyone. I go with the cool, refreshing taste of Gatorade Frost. Now, this is not Gatorade Zero Sugar. That shit is nasty. This is Gatorade Frost, the Glacial Freeze. That's what I'm talking about. Give a little to the fishies. There we go. And we're good. All right, hopefully we'll get on a few more. marked this point from the other side. I went up there, I crossed, I fished the channel over there. The water was too the water was too fast for me to stand up the camera, so I kind of hung it on my back. Caught a small one, I lost another small one, and then I lost probably about a 15-inch smallie, which would have been the biggest of the day. I got him in close. I didn't fight him very well. He went airborne a few times too, so that didn't help my cause. I got him close, but very hard fighting fish. But you know, I'm going to try to fish this from this side. I'm going to cover this side. You got a little bit better of a slot section because the river makes a point right here, and so there's going to be a slack section along this fast current. Cast across, get it down, swing it into this slow stuff, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully there's another good one over here to make up for that last one. Not quite as big as I thought he was, because they're definitely fighters. Nowhere near the size of that 15-incher I lost, but definitely a really nice fish. I'm happy with it. That's pound for pound, smallmouth bass, hardest fighting fish. Changed my mind.